right the first time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we always do things right the first time. There's never been a time where we have had to go back and redo something or had a second take. No, I'm kidding. It's been a fail forward scenario. But you know what? That's where you learn, right? And it's been a lot of fun. You know what? I'd have to say, we're really lucky. I'm really lucky to be working with Tim. And a big reason for that is because of his amazing artistic abilities. Tim knows his stuff when it comes to visual effects, editing, and of course, just his creative nature, has a huge effect on the projects that we make. And, in a lot of ways, a lot of the stuff we start out with, Tim sketches up or paints a poster, right? And the poster is a representation of what we're thinking about and visualizing this concept that we have. Start with the poster, man, and from there, things start materializing, start coming up with ideas, outlines, and then eventually it turns into a script. And then once we have a script, we start thinking about who we want to put in the movie. And then I figure out how much money it's going to take. And then it just goes from there. Yeah, that's a huge part in it,
I'll bet. Well, listen, you guys, we are on a roll here tonight on Night Dreams Talk Radio, but we're going to take a short break. If you will both hold on, we're going to go to a commercial message, and then we will be right back.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, guys, right now we got about 60 seconds or 1 minute, but I am going to go take a quick
Our intro music is provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
And you're back on, Michael. And Michael, you're back on.
Okay, I'm back. And how are you guys doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing good. Oh, sorry, I just lost my radio voice. All right, there we go. Back.
We're back on the air, guys. Well, all right. Thank you for the first hour of this really fascinating show here about the Wade brothers and Ambition Pictures. Before we go any further, tell me the story of how you got the title or the name Ambition Pictures.
Well, it's like just tons of ambition, and we take a lot of pictures, and so we thought, why not make a company out of it, man?
Nice.
Yeah, I guess that's about right. I mean, we've gone through a lot of names, actually. I mean, we had some weird Greek name for a while, some Catizo Studios, and then we had Creation Studios, and we had New Dawn Films, and I don't know, we just kept bouncing around, and eventually we figured, it's time to grow up, and actually make a company that we want to stick with. And so, yeah, Ambition Pictures, we were thinking about what describes the company, in one word, what does that? And for us, ambition did that. So that's how we got that name, and we've stuck with it. So it's a record for us. We've been working Ambition Pictures now for over 4 years.
Well, I like it. I like the title. It's very catchy name. So good job, you guys. And for 4 years, guys, and longer than that, sounds like you've been working together as brothers in Ambition Pictures, right?
Oh yeah, we try to get along. It doesn't always work out, but we give it a shot.
Shut up, Phillp. This is my radio show. Yeah, we don't always get along, but
yeah,
at the end of the day,
the town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, I got to tell you the story of one of the reasons why the idea of Mount Adams stood out to us. So this was Tim and I and my bro Matthew. So back, 7-8 years ago, we went up, did a research at the Yakima Lights area, right? And we're driving back, and we stopped by Mount Adams because, Mount Adams has the light phenomenon and all that stuff too. So, let's go check it out. So what we did there is we stopped by the Easeti Ranch, and then we went up this old logging road, and I don't even remember what it is now, but we went up this logging road as far as we could go. I was driving this old 1997 stick shift Camry, and the shocks are gone on it, so we're trying to avoid the potholes so we don't get stranded up there with no cell service. And so we went up this road as far as we could go, and then it pretty much the brush got too thick. You pretty much needed an ATV to get through there, and my car does not double as an ATV. And so we pulled over to the side of the road, and we just hiked straight through the woods. And it's pretty thick, actually. I mean, the brush up there is thick, and just as far as we could get up to this bluff where we could see the mountain and, kind of a view of the landscape up there. Beautiful forest, man. It's just breathtaking, And so we're up there, and we found somebody had built this little fort thing out of sticks. So we all sat inside it and brought out our binoculars and cameras and everything, and just kind of waited to see what happened. And so it started to get dark, and we started to hear a few sounds off in the forest around us. But I don't know, we were okay with it. We I don't know, had dinner, ate something, and just kept sitting there, and it got darker, and eventually it was night, And what ended up happening is we started hearing we could hear crashes in the forest from trees, tree branches just being crushed. I mean, it was just loud crashes. And we thought, okay, maybe something's walking on by, And turns out it was behind us, in front of us, and on the side. I mean, we had it from 3 different places all at the same time. We're practically being surrounded by this, whatever it was that was just wasn't very stealthy. Whatever was walking around out there, and we started to hear these growls and grunts, and they were pretty loud. And am I right, Tim?
Oh yeah, we needed a stinking change of pants and underwear. It was scary.
Yeah, so we're sitting there, and in the dark, you really, I mean, it was. I don't think there was a moon out that night, so it was pretty damn dark, and these sounds got louder and louder, and we got so freaked out, we just hightailed on out of there, went straight through the woods in the dark until we found our car and jumped in and left. So, we're just trying to keep up the reputation of, being real tough. So that's how we roll. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. So we hopped in and left, but that whole all that stuff that took place that night really stuck in our minds, because the night before we were seeing lights up on the mountain, Mount Adams. You could see like little spots of light show up, and we had our night vision with us, and so we were looking at it through there. And yeah, so that's what inspired us to make the Mount Adams feature film.
Wow. Yeah, that would be quite inspiring, actually. You're sitting out there. Well, first of all, I wanted to make note to the fact that you found a stick structure that you were decided to hunker down in. Is that right? Tell us a little bit about what that looked like, and could it have possibly been something that the Bigfoot or Sasquatch might have created themselves?
It reminded me of a small, like the beginnings of like a cabin kind of thing. You know how like the logs are sort of stacked on top of each other, sort of like, I mean, there wasn't like any rope or anything quite like that, so we weren't quite sure what it was, but man, whatever. I mean, after a while, we were up there, and of course, we were guys, we were making noise and, having fun, cracking jokes, eating dinner and stuff. But whatever it was that was up there did not want us there, and there was quite a few. There's definitely a couple of them that were just coming right towards us, and yeah, like they did not want us up there. They're like, this is get off our property.
Yeah. And you said that you heard some grunts or some vocalizations. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
I mean, at first, Bigfoot wasn't even on my mind. So I was thinking like, okay, this sounds like a strange, like a cross between a bear and a moose. Those are the two, or the two things that I could like pin it to. Because I've gone on different, outdoor wildlife trips, with my dad or the brothers. I mean, we loved hanging out in the wilderness, and never heard anything quite like this.
And to your recollection, was this just this vocalization coming from one person, one creature, or was it coming from all three of those locations you were talking about?
It was coming from all three. Like I said, it sounded like we were surrounded, and whatever it was, it felt like they were, letting us know that they were coming. So it was like, okay, you have a chance to surrender and get out of there, or we're going to beat you up. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, that is not unusual to hear those stories of vocalizations by those cryptids, Bigfoot, whatever they are, just to get you out of the area there. And it's fascinating that you were close to Mount Adams when you had this sighting. Obviously, there are stories of those creatures all around Mount Adams, as well as the lights on the mountain that you were mentioning, and UFOs. So it sounds to me that this new project that you guys are putting together is more of a documentary regarding Mount Adams. Tell us a little bit about this future production.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Phillp chime in too on this. It's a so we started off with the movie, which is sort of based on our little crazy experience at the mountain. The lights and the whatever the animals they were that wanted us out of there, and so we made a very dramatized, exaggerated version that we made into the movie. And now we're like, okay, so when people watch that, Now we're going to have the actual, the true side